Hi, it's me again, and welcome back to this is day 2, the morning of day 2 for you guys. As you can see, I'm busy putting your stretch targets together, and I wanted to take this opportunity to create something that you could kind of hang on to and keep, just to make sure that you can carry that learning with you for a little bit longer. As you know, I genuinely believe that your ability to communicate, connect with your audience and get your message across clearly is the key skill to you in your futures as leaders and just as communicators here at Legoland. So what I wanted to do is just kind of give you a reminder of everything that we've covered over the last day, and there'll be another module for you to look at for day 2 that just kind of consolidates everything that we've talked about, everything that you've experienced and everything that you want to carry forward for forever. So let's have a look. That was our initial outline for the start of day 1. We did a few introductions. You guys kind of did the stepping up and told us what you really wanted to get out of a presentation skills workshop. And what I noticed between 9 o'clock yesterday morning, or day 1 morning, and the end of the day was that you began to really see that and believe that you could do those kind of things. So that was really cool. I told you a little bit about my background. Yeah, I think presentation skills is your #1 skill. You can have the best product in the world, you can have the best service, you can have the best ideas, but if you can't connect with people that you wanted to work with, you're on a downward slope straight away. So we then looked at what makes great presentations, and hey, look, here's your ideas. So we had great presentations, clarity, charisma, engagement, all of those words, those are the words that you use, and they're right. And you created 2 pages of that, I do believe. We looked at all the things that you can car crash it with. Yeah, and these things you know, using too much jargon, monotone drone, as Carl told us, all of that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that everybody's guilty of, and this is what you're going to escape from. Remember all that? We then looked at a typical funnel. What typically happens is you go and hit Google, you hit your research, and you'll then just go from content, filter it out, then you'll think about your audience, and if you're lucky, you'll think about what action you want them to take. This whole naked presentations process is turning it all on its head. Start with your end in mind. What do you want people to do? Outcome focus. Who is it you're addressing, and what specifically do those people think about doing? So in your audience, who are the doers? What do you want them to do? Who are the influencers? Who do you want them to influence and how? Who are the resources? What resources do you want? Do you want more time? Do you want more hours? Do you want more staff? Do you want more cash? What is it that you want from them, and how are you going to get it from them? And then the innovators. What is it you want them to do with your ideas, and what do you want them to make it better? Do you want them to give you some improvements? But if people don't fall into any of those categories, then they simply don't belong in your presentation. Remember that challenge I gave you? Anybody that doesn't have a specific action or involvement in your meeting shouldn't be there. A meeting or a presentation that does not create a direct action as a result is, yeah, it's a waste of time. So that's what we're talking about with the funnel. We then looked at making meaning, some simple structure. We did a little bit about outcome thinking. We didn't get onto boom boom design. That's going to come today. And we looked at how you can do confidence. So remember, complicated presentations don't make anything for people. What we need to get back to is those 3 raw ingredients. Those ingredients are outcomes. Ruthlessly focus yourself on those outcomes. 3 or 4 minutes of doing that will make your presentation, make your communications, your telephone calls that much better than everybody else, because they'll know what to do. If you don't know what you want your audience to do, then how do you expect them to? So spend some time in doing that. It's a great discipline to get hold of. Then think about your audience. You may not know who's going to be in the room specifically, but you may have job titles. You may understand what they might want to do, so your doers and your influencers. You may be completely in the dark about it, but you will know something about it. Maybe you've got a room of 17-year-olds. Maybe you've got a room full of financial controllers. You can make some kind of guesses as to who's going to be in the room. You need to put yourself firmly in their shoes and ask yourself, what do they need from this? The art of presenting is not about what you know, it's about what these people will get from you. So really take some time to put yourself in their shoes and create outcomes that are compelling for your audience. And then we'll look to some really cool ways to deliver. Remember, credible and approachable, how you can give your message across with respect, but with certainty. Give credibility, and you can go approachable as well. Remember all of those bits of physiology that we talked about. We also talked about how to do confidence, which we'll get onto in a second. We established that you and your audience are massively unique. No one in the room is going to interpret your message in the way that you want it. So they're all kind of misunderstanding it. And we talked about maps of the world as a concept for how people make meaning out of things. So remember, an event happens in the exterior world, between 4 billion and 400 billion bits of information that need to be filtered through your unique set of filters. So they could be your experience, your values, your education, and importantly, your state. Yeah? So really consider those things. Remember how we delete. Remember how we distort things based upon our emotional connection. And remember how we generalize things. That's how we survive. That's how we go through life. So it's all okay. Everybody's got that map of the world, and you need to be flexible enough to adapt to that. So if you've got 2 people in your audience, it's 3 maps of the world in the room. You've got 100 people in your audience, 101 maps of the world. So flexibility is your answer in all things. When you notice that things aren't going right for you in your presentation, you're getting that glazed frog look, or people just aren't engaging with you, do something different. That's the biggest mistake most presenters make. They go hell for leather for their one outcome with no flexibility and create pandemonium. If you can be flexible in the moment, if you can adapt to your audience's every wish and whim, you will win the game. That's what it's about. Your map of the world drives your state. Remember, your state changes every 2 minutes. So if you're not in a great state now, you can wait for 2 minutes or you can change it yourself. But ultimately, it will change your behavior, and your behavior gives you the result in the external world. So we talked some more about this concept of state. And this state thing is a more sophisticated way of saying mood or attitude or behavior. It's that mixture of these 3 elements of how you position your body, your physiology, your attitude. So where you put your shoulders, how you breathe, all of those kind of things can have an impact. So remember the pushing over exercise when we did centering? Yeah, don't do that one in front of an audience, but you remember the difference that it had and how that makes you feel. You remember the impact of thinking about bad things, so you made that, you remembered all the bad things in your life, and you remember the arm push. What was the impact when you thought of bad things? You couldn't resist. When you thought about great things and had a great focus, there was strength there. Remember how that impacts on you and your presentation. And then we looked at language. You remember the arm push, where you told me your name, and then you told me another name? What happens when you tell a lie, or when you don't tell the truth? It weakens your entire operation. Now, doing one of those things is incredibly powerful. Doing 2 of those things is even more powerful. But how good can you be when you do all 3 at the same time? It's a habit, and I want you to just get into that habit more often and more often. Stand confidently more often. Drive in a more confident position. Think more positive things, and always check your language. Words like hopefully, maybe, should, try, they just don't give you that impact. So try and eradicate them from your vocabulary, he says, using try. We then looked at how you put your audience in the centre of your entire creation of your presentation. And we looked at this model by Bernice McCarthy. It was called Format. And we looked at the 4 questions that everybody needs answering and how quickly you can answer those questions. You all did it in just under 2 minutes. And it's not complicated stuff, it's very simple. You need to give 3 reasons why those people in your audience should listen to you. Really basic ones, why they should be there, what's in it for them, where are the benefits. The biggest mistake that you can make in presenting is operate from you and why you think this is really important, because it's really not in their world. So really think about what do they need from me and why is this going to be a great thing for them to give me a portion of their lives. What are the 3 biggest chunks of information that you need to talk to them about? Most people can only retain 3 chunks, so give them the 3 things that will most give you the guarantee that they will go and do what you want them to do. You don't need to talk about any of the peripheral stuff. What are the 3 things that will enable them to go and do what you need them to do? And focus entirely on them. Then get into the practicalities. How is it going to happen? How are you going to deliver this presentation? Are you going to do a little bit of input? Are you going to show a video? Are you going to do questions and answers? Or beyond your presentation, if it's an implementation process, what will that look like? Will it be a period of consultation, a period of trial, and then a sign-off process? I don't know. But there needs to be some kind of timeline and pragmatic sense for a lot of the people in the room. And then the all-important what if. You know, if you make your presentation all about the benefits, no one's going to believe you. So be honest and open. Sell us a few benefits and make sure that they outweigh the risks, but be open about what the potential risks are. What were the benefits of you going and doing all of this? Less stress, more confidence to present, raising your profile, all of those kind of things. Save time in presentations and know that people will go and do things. What are the risks? The biggest risk I see is that you don't go and do any of this, that you treat this as a nice 2 days and you just sit back on it and you put that workbook in a file and go back to your lives. Then it would have been a waste of 2 days, wouldn't it? So that's the biggest risk. So that's what we meant by format. Very, very simple structure, and you'll learn how to use format in a more sophisticated structure in the next program. We then looked at how you can create crystal clear outcomes for any presentation. This isn't just standing in front of people. This is phone calls, this is emails, this is everything in your leadership career now. Just take a few more minutes to think about this. This is how we did it. What ultimately do you want these people to do or say the minute they walk away from you? And this is the example that we worked up. We talked about an interview. Most people kind of want you to be hired. And that's okay, but that's kind of like a 6 out of 10. We talked about, don't you want to be hired for double the salary? Don't you want them to just buy you out of your contract? Don't you want them to just halt the entire recruitment process and say, you? So that's what we want them to do. That's what we wanted them to say. Words like, I love him or her. Hire them now. Yeah. And the thinking process behind that is probably the same. But more importantly, the emotions that drive those kind of actions are what you need to create in the audience. You need them to be excited, confident, reassured, and have some certainty that you're the right person. Now, you know from what we did on this module that mirror neurons in your brain, the state that you have as a presenter can lead your audience. So if you want them to be excited, you've got to do exciting or be excited. If you want them to be confident in you, you've got to do confident and show confident. If you want them to be reassured, you've got to be reassuring. You've got to go into that state. And if you want them to be certain about you, you've got to have rock solid certainty. If you can do those, it's almost a no-brain click-word exercise that will follow. And that's the way that you'll design. You design from your outcomes. Wow, what a day, eh? So we've got a great day planned for you for number 2. And I hope that's been a great reminder for you and something that you can keep constantly referring to. I'll take some photographs of all those things, and I look forward to seeing you during today, and I'll see you on the next module. So have fun with your presenting, and I'll see you soon.